Good morning. This is Maria Quattrone with Be the Solution, and I am so excited today for my guest, Rich Fournier. Rich is the president and owner of Peak Results Academy in Toronto, Canada, and I am so excited to speak with him today. Rich, thank you for joining us this morning.
Oh, Maria, thank you so much. Very grateful to be here on this beautiful morning in the middle of post-COVID. Really excited to be here. Life is amazing, and I appreciate it. Thanks for giving me some time.
Where are you this morning? Are you in your office?
I am in my office. Yes, I am. I'm in the real estate business as well, but we do have a company called the Peak Results Academy. And we also have a podcast, which is called the Peak Results Academy Podcast, where we interview top performers, mainly in the real estate industry, but of course through other areas, trying to figure out who and what and how to create a peak result in someone's life.
I watched your video about how it came about. Why don't you tell our listeners how you started the academy and why?
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it. So, raised single mom. We were poor, didn't have very much, and my mom started listening to Tony Robbins tapes when I was a kid. And I really didn't realize what was happening, but I guess over time, some of those thoughts and ideas and inspiration entered into my subconscious mind. So I think in essence, that sort of information saved my life from being a real bad kid and getting into too much trouble, especially in the community that I grew up in. Over the course of my life, I've seen many people succeed and fail, and I've always been intrigued with what creates a peak result in someone's life. And about 4 years ago, I was working and coaching with another real estate coaching company, traveling around the eastern side of the United States in Ontario and Canada. And there was one guy, I was doing a course, facilitating a course, and one guy said to me, he goes, "Rich, I know what to do, but why don't I do it?" And that's a really interesting question. Everyone knows what to do. And if you could do everything you knew how to do, Maria, I'd
be a different person.
But you know how to do so much. But my curiosity, and when he posed that question to me, he goes, "Rich, I know what to do, but why don't I do it?" So then I spent the next 4 years, I left the company. We just continued selling real estate where we are. I just went on a hunt to figure out what creates a peak result in someone's life. What's the gap between knowing and actually doing or executing on that knowledge? And it's taken me all around, through so many different programs, and spending some time in the Tony Robbins organization, spending time with the Bob Proctor organization, and just really trying to immerse myself through landmark education, seminars, doing so many different things to try to figure out what is the reason why we don't execute on our thought process. And that started coming to fruition with the Peak Results Academy.
So what's the answer?
Well,
why don't we do it, Rich?
Well, I think from my experience, listen, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a psychiatrist, not a psychotherapist, but in my experience, even myself, where I failed a million times, almost went bankrupt 3 times, and then doing what we do today, I've come to the understanding for me is that because of that gap between knowing what I know and the self-image that I hold of myself, and this is going to get a little bit flowery, but you have to bear with me for a minute. There is an image that we hold of ourselves on a daily basis. That image has been formed from inception in our genetic code, and of course, it's been enhanced through the environment and living and growing up in the current environments that we live in. And so in essence, we are programmed. Joel Barker said we live and die in our paradigms, which are our programs. And a paradigm is only a multitude of habits that we live. 90 to 95% of our day is in habitual habits, things we do every day that are we just do it. We don't even think about it. And that is our life. And we actually don't spend even 20% of our day actually thinking and using our mind to direct ourselves in an appropriate way. So we are literally programmed to operate in the way that we're operating. And if you really want to know how you're programmed, look at your results. Look at your results today, Maria. Whoever's listening to us today, look at your results in life. It's neither bad, it's neither good, it is what it is. But if you want to know how you're programmed, look at who you are and what's happening in your life. Right? If I'm 20 pounds overweight, which I am, I'm programmed to be 20 pounds overweight. I haven't made a clear-cut decision about changing that because it's super difficult to do. this idea that you're just going to go in a program and you're going to change your life in terms of, whether it's a 90-day program in regards to weight loss. I mean, until you change the underlying programs of how you see yourself, you're not going to change. So one of my stitches is that it's not your fault. It's not your fault. You don't even realize that you're programmed. You're a biological machine who has a soul. And to operate in this realm, your biological machine has programs so you can operate in this realm. Sounds a little bit crazy, but it's true. And the research is supporting this 100%.
Yeah, I know that. I believe that to be true. Right.
So if you want to change the results in your life, you got to change the program. And that requires effort and coaching and accountability. And it's got to be a real decision to make those changes. And there are steps and processes to create that change. Think of the real estate industry for a second. I mean, I'm in the real estate industry. Think of it this way. We take an agent, right? Simple courses, depends what state you're in, what province in Ontario or Canada that you're in. Different rules, different regulations, but really simple to get. The bar to entry is not very high in the real estate industry, right? So we take that person, we say, listen, come in here. I want you to call or communicate with 100, 200 people every single day to buy and sell a piece of property. No wonder we have a 90% churn rate in the industry. They're not programmed to do that, right? Their self-image, their confidence in who they are, what they see of themselves doesn't work. Right. And so we teach them scripts, dialogues, teach them how to generate leads, buy leads, get branding, look pretty, buy a nice car. But we don't teach them what's important. That's how to change the programs of the mind so they can operate in a different way. That's what I'm frustrated in our industry or any industry. It's all about sales, tips, tricks, mirroring the other person and shaking their hands in a certain way and how you look. That's not the important thing. It's who you're being in the process. And until you change those baseline programs, you're not going to operate in the way that you really want to.
Well, that's scaring me now.
This is a core belief of mine because I've seen it in my life, right? I see
so it's like, here we are. We, as a team, even I own the Remax brokerage here in Philadelphia, but we operate as a group. So as the group leader, you are responsible for bringing in, new teammates, whether that be back office or real estate agents. And it's hard to find the right people. Isn't it, Rich?
Let me ask you a question. Isn't it, or is that a belief?
I don't know.
Right. So we see this all the time, right? Let me ask you a question. Here's a question that was recently posed to me by somebody in my circle of influence who is a kind of a mentor and someone I watched from afar. He said, if this business as a team leader in real estate could really be simple, even for me, what beliefs do I need to change?
What beliefs do I need to change? Well, I guess the one belief I would say that I have to change that it's difficult that it's easy.
It is easy.
That's like a belief, right?
Right. Or that your belief is that it's hard to find the right staff. Right?
Well, in the past, anyway, I'm using that as an example. That's been something that in the past has been difficult. I have a great staff now, great team, best team ever by far. I think part of that is personal development.
Listen, if we're not growing, we're not going to change the results that we currently have. And my question is for most people is, even for myself, what beliefs do I hold every day that aren't serving me anymore? Right? Because those beliefs are what, the assumptions that I have about something is directing the future me.
Yeah. I say, I want to be wrong. Somebody tell me that I'm wrong.
Yeah.
We get a lot of the yes man syndrome, right?
Yeah.
People tell us, yes, yes, yes. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, that's a great idea, Maria. Somebody tell me I'm wrong. Somebody have the balls to tell me that I'm friggin' wrong. I want to be wrong. Prove me wrong.
Right.
Please.
I get it. I mean, you're in a tough industry, and I think COVID really exposed a lot of weaknesses in the industry and a lot of people's teams and what they do for a living. And I think that a lot of us are going to have to reevaluate our belief systems about what works, what doesn't work, and what the future is going to hold. Right.
Yeah, 100%. This morning I was thinking about something. I walk into the office and I look around, and right now, I mean, my office, I have a retail storefront. So there's about 1,800 square feet. And there's myself and Joan here right now. And usually one other person for the last 2 weeks.
Right.
Okay. So 3 of us. I have the lights on, I have the air on, and I have this big window that's on like semi-busy street right in the center city, Philadelphia. And I look out the window, and I was thinking to myself, every Friday they change. We have these beautiful hanging signs, illuminated like pictures that have all the listings in it.
Right.
We were the first people around here to do that because I saw it at a conference. Right. Somebody was selling it. I'm like, that's great. Put it in the window. So we have like 20 of them, and every Friday they get changed. And I was such a stickler for this every single Friday for this window, like a crazy person about the window. And I looked over at the window, I go, that was the stupidest thing to worry about, was this window. And I thought about that in a lot of different things over the last 120 days or however many days it's been. I've lost track of the count.
Right.
And I've reevaluated my life, what I'm willing to do, what I'm not willing to do, what I want to do, what I don't want to do. And I think, I don't know if everybody's done that, but I think a lot of people have sat back and said, wow, really, what could be done?
Right.
Right. So our approach has been to take a massive action instead of retreating. And so what are the things and then we brainstormed as a team saying, can we do to get our message out there and to help other businesses grow, whether they're in real estate or in our local community? And so we had I don't know the word pivot, but whatever, that we had to move in a different direction. And what we thought couldn't be true, like Zooming around to every listing appointment and agent appointment and how efficient it is. Like, so finding the good things and so there are changes can happen. Sometimes it takes a massive catastrophe for them, right? I think a little bit is that what you're alluding to. Something needs to happen in order for something else to happen. So how do you create that without having another pandemic, Rich?
Decision.
So you just decide.
So it's really interesting. Everything we've ever done in our life is a decision, right? Whether you got married, whether you dated someone, you didn't date someone, whether you had another beer, whether you didn't have another beer. Sometimes you operate in, those programs I'm talking about. So, if you have a beer, you have 2 beers, you might have 7 because now you're in the habitual law of rhythm, right? But when it comes
right. That's an easy one to get, right? That's
right. But when it comes to making a real clear-cut decision, most people, say for example, in the real estate industry, most of them haven't made a real clear-cut decision that they're in the real estate business.
Oh, what business are they in?
They haven't made a decision.
They don't know?
Well, I think if I look at the results for most people in the real estate industry, we'll just use it because that's the industry we're in. I mean, you can apply this to any industry, but I can tell you who's made a decision to be in the real estate business. The top 10% of the population, maybe just the top 5, they've made a clear-cut decision that they're willing to be and do something extraordinary in their life, and that's to be in this crazy business where you're on demand 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But they made a decision, right? And until you make a clear-cut decision, you can't figure out the how. The how doesn't mean anything. The how already exists out there today. The how to do it exists.
Oh, there's lots of information for sure.
It's easy. I mean, lead gen, Zillow, Trilla, whatever you want to do to create a relationship with people, it's there. See, technology hasn't changed the business. All it does is change how we develop and cultivate relationships with people. Like now, look at Maria, you and I are cultivating a relationship through video across the country. And that's an extraordinary environment to be in. But the basic premise is still the same, a relationship. And most people in our industry haven't made a decision to have relationships with lots and lots and lots of people. in our commodity, which is buying and selling a piece of property to serve people in their lives. And until you make it, like, it sounds so basic, but think about it. Until you make a decision, you can't figure out the how. Most people get stuck in, how do I do something? Oh, I'd like to be in real estate, but how do I do it? Oh, it's not going to work for me. And this little monkey chatter starts going. That's not them. That's their self-image trying to maintain who they currently are. Like, you have an identity, Maria. I have an identity of who I think I am. So anytime I try to make a change, my identity is going to pull me back.
Suck you back.
Because it doesn't want to change. It's meant to help me survive. It's meant to keep me safe.
Right. No risk.
Some people have the opposite switch in their mind, right? But if you want to make a change, you have to make a clear-cut decision in spite of the circumstance, in spite of what you see out there today, in spite of the reality. Because reality is only a construct of what I've done in the past, right? So who I am today, this moment in time, talking to you, Maria, was because of a decision I made a long time ago. And now this is just a byproduct of that decision.
Sure.
Same with you. You made a decision somewhere in the line. You know, Chrissy, who works for us, reached out and said, Maria, we'd love to have you on the show. So I gave her a list of people that I wanted on my show. And here we are today, because that was it. So this is just a byproduct. So whatever you want in the future, if you want a different future, you can't be the same person that you are today. You literally got to die to yourself. You have to completely change you to have a different result. Because if you stay the same, your trajectory is already set. So if you want change, you got to put in the work, right? The quiet.
It's hard work too.
You need someone in your corner to help you go through that process. If you don't, you're not going to do it. You're just not, because unless you take the time to study, to understand how the mind works, and if you don't spend the time figuring out how the mind works, you're not going to do the work necessary. You're not going to have faith that it's going to work, right? Like this guy right here, Expert Secrets, right? I'm reading a book, great book, finished it, read it 3 times now. I was curious on what creates a movement, right?
What is that book? Experts?
Secrets, right?
Secrets.
What creates a movement, right? And I was curious on how does that really work. I couldn't figure it out on my own, so I had to go to someone who's already done it, doing it at a very, very high level. So for anyone who's watching this today, if they want to create a change, they're going to make a real clear-cut decision before they figure out the how. Steve Jobs said it really, really well. You can tell I've had a lot of coffee this morning. You can't connect the dots looking forward. Meaning that you can't figure out how it's going to work in the future. All I know is that I got to make a decision about what I want. And the world will start moving based on the decision I made. The law of assumption, that I made an assumption that this is going to happen. I can't figure it out before I make a decision. Maria, what's next for you, right? What decision do you want to make for the future? The problem is we get stuck in the how do I do it? Do I need more leads? And do I need to hire someone else? Never mind all that. What future do you actually want? And then we have to get you to believe that new future, that it already exists. And until you form a new belief that it's true, you won't do the work.
It's funny. I was actually visualizing my my next step this morning.
Right.
I was visualizing what that next, I don't know exactly what you said, how I'm going to get there, but I was visualizing my website, mariaquattrone.com. So we're thought leader website. Yep. And then what that looked like and what I look like on the website and where I was positioned on the website. It was very interesting. That was in the shower. I do my best thinking and visualizing in the shower. I don't know why, but
you know what? When I'm driving, when I'm driving north of the city and I got to go to an appointment, when I'm by myself and in my car, it's just my subconscious takes over when I'm driving, and that's when I stop thinking and things flow. You got to find what works for you.
So I think it's important, Rich, and your thoughts about this is we need to have time to allow things to flow. To be in a constant mode of moving, going. I found it difficult to remove myself from that time to sit and actually be creative, to think. I have to be doing nothing. And I always say, and you know, the magic happens when nothing's happening.
Right. That's a great line. It's a fantastic line, actually.
So I always say, you know, take some time, take a day. Don't work every day. Don't work every single day, all day long, because you can in this industry. Take some time, go to the beach, take a walk, even if you do have to do something every day. Like for me, I love to take a bike ride. So taking the bike ride brings me back to when I was 7, 8, 9 years old. And I started to ride the bike. And then the bike was an escape for me.
Right.
An escape from my house, an escape from, I don't know about reality, but somewhat, because it was freeing, because you're riding the bike and you're riding really fast and the wind's blowing and, you know, you create the wind, right? Because you're riding. And it's, for me, it's freeing. So it's like, find something that you can just decompress. And it's not wine. It's not wine, by the way.
Right. Well, that's definitely something I enjoy, but you're absolutely right. Wine is.
I enjoy the wine too, but that's not the time when the free thinking creative juice is going. Maybe the crazy stuff starts to happen. I'm kidding around, but
yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, you can't drink and create a definite vision for your future, right? You know, listen, all the tips, tools, tricks, everything out there today to generate business, or, you know, that's why when you have other agents will say, you know, Rich, these leads don't work and this and that. That's not true. You don't work. Right? You don't work. You don't have belief. You don't have faith in what you're doing. Because without faith and belief, that the magic isn't created. You have to really see it in your mind, and you have to do the work. We're not Merlin. We cannot just create that, by will and say, oh, there it is. It takes time and effort. And I think that until you reprogram that mindset, and I mean literally, you have to reprogram it so it becomes natural. Right? So your will can only take you so far. And until you get past that point where you create a new habitual pattern in the way you think and the way you believe, you're not going to continue on. You're going to stop. You're going to go back to your old habits.
So you have a team of people that work with you?
So we had a team in the real estate business. I actually had some challenges physically, and some health challenges, which threw me off for quite a while. Of course, during that time when you're not a rainmaker during that time. So that was an interesting time in our life. We actually moved up to.
When was that?
That was January. I started December 2018, and probably was in bed for 3-4 months.
Wow. That's a real wake-up call.
You know what? It really was. But what I did understand, what I learned through that process, is that you have to see the outcome before it happens, right? You actually have to see it. You have to know that the people that are going to enter into your life to help you. And I had some amazing people that entered my life and made some massive changes, and helped me through a physical challenge. And, we still ended up doing quite well last year and doing great this year. And so, listen, we entered a market we didn't know anyone. We did a brand new market, zero circle of influence, no leads, no database. No one didn't know us. I knew two guys from university.
Where were you before Ontario?
But we were southern Ontario, so we were central Ontario now, just north of Toronto.
Oh.
So we came in here and we, I don't want to talk about money, but we did quite well. If from the gross income perspective, it was, and I was intrigued why, right? That was part of the process of, I can create anything I choose to, even if the results in front of me say that I can't. Because listen, let's get real. Most people who are in real estate, they grew up and then live in the community they grew up in, they still fail, right? So why did we create massive revenue in the first 18 months? That was extraordinary. That's not meant to impress. It's meant to impress upon an idea that there was a reason for it. The business already existed. There's people here in our community, do 3 deals a year and they can't get past 3 deals. Why did I come in who didn't know anyone with my wife, and we created a revenue stream that was extraordinary in the first 18 months? There's a reason. It's because we reprogrammed our mind to make that happen. The vehicle's here, real estate, the vehicle of real estate's here. It's wide open for everybody. Everyone has the same opportunity. It's a level playing field. I don't care who's dominating, who's not dominating. If you choose to, Maria, you could do whatever you do.
I believe that.
Right? And then once that belief happens and you actually get it down to the subconscious core, like who you are, you will act in a different way. Because it's just natural to act that way. Because that's a belief now. Until that's a new belief, you won't act. Our actions are a byproduct of our belief systems and our assumptions, right? So if I say to, a friend, we had someone work, on our team, and then this gentleman, I said, here's a database of 3,000 leads that we generated. Get on the phone, start communicating. Here's all the tools. Here's BombBomb. Here's Follow-Up Boss. Go for it, man. You don't have to spend a dime. Go for it. And what happened?
Nothing.
For the first couple days, and then it went, why? He wasn't programmed. He didn't believe that he was going to produce at a certain level within that space because he didn't have a good concept of himself, right?
I did an experiment based upon exactly what you're saying. When I ran a team in my old firm before I opened up Remax at Home, it was myself and maybe 8 buyer's agents at the time, something like that. And I had an ISA team. This is like a while ago, before people were really doing any of this ISA stuff. And I went around the room in a sales meeting. And because the agents were getting so many opportunities, scheduled appointments for them to meet with clients, to buy or sell real estate, list or buy. And I went around the room and I asked each of them to tell me how many sides, deals, transactions, whatever you want to call it, do they believe that they could do a month? And I got all different answers, but it explained to me why, if I gave them the golden egg on the platter, they'd find a way to break it, because they didn't have the belief that they could do more than 2 sides a month or 5 sides a month. So if I gave them 5 appointments a week and they only thought they could do 2, they weren't changing, they weren't doing it. They find a way to literally lose that, to not get that business.
Right. So their identity will bring them back to their current identity, even though they may try to change it. Until they do the work that's necessary to change their current identity or the belief system that they have about themselves, they won't do it. See, this is not sexy, right? This isn't a brand new lead capture site. This isn't a landing page that's going to magically create business for someone. This is where someone has to really confront who they are and what they're not. And then from there, they have to make some real new decisions about the future direction of their life. If not, they live as a robot. They live in habitual patterns that aren't serving them, or it's serving them to the level that they want to be served right now, right? Until they change that identity or part of their belief system about what they're capable of producing, it's never going to change. And so I'm frustrated with our industry, because our industry right now is not, I don't believe what's being facilitated out there in the marketplace is really giving people an opportunity to change. Tips, tools, tricks, lead capture pages, CRM systems, and all that stuff is super, super important. And that's what people want to buy. And I get that. I mean, some shiny new tool comes out and I'm like, ooh, look at that. It looks really interesting, right? Is that going to change my life?
The magic bullet.
But they have to
doesn't exist.
Right. And the magic bullet in our business is perception and activity. And that means I have to have a belief system about who and what I am, right? There's a great book called Psycho-Cybernetics that was written years ago. It was one of the best books ever written about the mind, right? We're a cybernetic organism, meaning that if you give it a destination, it will find a way to make that happen. Circumstances and events will melt for your mind, but we're like a missile, right? I say I'm going there, and unless I give it the direction, it won't go there. The problem is that I have to see myself as that person to create that result. Right. And until I believe that I'm that person, Maria, it's not, we're not going to do it. We're just going to be patterned. I mean, every day. So, every day when I drive home, it's easy to stop up and grab a bottle of wine to go home. It's right there. It's habitual, right? It's part of my life. I'm doing it forever. I love a glass of wine, making dinner with my wife. It's habitual. Now, could I change that belief system about that? It's killing me. It's not good for me. Wine isn't good. Yeah, of course you can. But I get to choose. Right? I get to choose. Maria, you get to choose if you're going to number one. Period.
That's right.
Right. And I think that's where.
And that's actually a beautiful thing, because we do get to choose.
We really do. You know what? If the system, or capitalist system, wasn't set up that way, we'd be in a different situation. But we're very blessed in North America. Regardless of the political systems that we see out there today, we're very blessed to have opportunity, and there is opportunity, and we become a society where we're starting to believe that we don't have choice, we don't have decision. No, we don't want to work.
Oh,
most people don't want to produce. Listen, most people have a regular job, Maria, right? They have a regular job, but you know what? They could come home and create a side hustle and create an extraordinary life if they choose to, but they think they deserve more by not doing more, and that's what frustrates me. That's a belief.
Well, that's been proven, especially now.
Well, here, for example, in Canada, we get something called CERB, right?
What is it?
CERB.
CERB.
It's $2,000 a month for everyone during COVID.
Oh yeah, okay. We have pandemic unemployment.
But you know what it's doing? People won't go back to work. They
had this exact conversation last night. So a woman said she gets this money and she only can work, she works a little bit over here and she gets that money and she makes more money than she was making. I said, so nobody wants to work.
I think we really have an opportunity. Technology is an amazing thing. I mean, you can do whatever you want with technology. You really can. You can create side hustles. You can sell on eBay. You can sell on Amazon, reseller. You can be in network marketing. You can be in real estate. You can do whatever you want. You can create scripts, programs to sell. I mean, technology has created such an opportunity out there in the marketplace today, but that means you have to grow as a human being. You have to grow. You have to change your skill sets. You got to change your beliefs about what's possible. And here at the Peak Results Academy, that's what we do. We help people change their belief system so they can produce at whatever level they want to produce.
So is the Academy, is it a monthly? Do you commit for a year? How does it work?
Yeah, so in the mastermind, so in the real estate community, what I believe and what I've seen, one-on-one, working with someone one-on-one gets a result. But what we experienced that when you're in a mastermind with 10 to 15 people who are committed to an outcome, everyone rises to the occasion, right? So over that 6-month period, we work with those people to not only reprogram their mind about how to operate in a certain way, right? Mm-hmm. But you work within their systems, processes, and business systems to help them fine-tune what they do. Because listen, you still need systems and processes. You need a way to communicate with your clients. You need a way, right, to be competitive in this marketplace today. You do have to do certain things a certain way.
You follow I know you worked with Bob Proctor for some time.
Yeah, it's one of the best experiences of my life.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why?
Because not only does Bob, what I've learned is that there's the mechanical side of life, right? The mechanics of doing something, but there's a spiritual side to life, right? We live in a world that's vibrational in nature. It's not a question. That's been documented and proven by science year in, year out, quantum physics, 0-point energy, intention experiments, whatever you want to call it. I've read so many abstracts and articles and books on the idea of potentiality and how to create using our mind. Here's what I know for sure. You will attract who you are every single day of every single year. We operate in a vibrational way. You're just operating at a high level of vibration right now. That's who you are, right? And each of us can raise or lower our vibration on a given day. That's really coming down to the programs that are buried deep within our neural connections in our brain, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we can connect. I mean, the same old examples, right, Maria? You're thinking about someone and they call you. How is that even humanly possible?
It happens all the time to me.
From a mechanical process, that's not possible. So there's the mechanical things that we do every single day. That's part of living in this space. And there's the spiritual side, which is more important. And from that side, and who I am and who I believe I am, that will dictate my actions every single day, Maria. Right? Our results are only a byproduct of our actions. Our actions are a byproduct of our belief systems and our assumptions about what's real and what's not real. Until we change that, nothing will change. So we spend 5 to 10% of our time in the mastermind working on their systems and processes. Because if we don't change their mind about what's possible, they won't do the work necessary to create what's possible. Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's you
got
got to do the work for sure.
But private victories turn into public victories, Maria. It's in the private times, what you were talking about before, riding the bike, being on your own. It's in your private times where you're making notes, you're studying, you're trying to figure out who I am, what am I doing in my life, what's the most important thing, what do I got to change, what's serving me, what's not serving me. Right? This isn't serving me anymore because it's not in alignment. It's not congruent with where I want to go. Listen, I still have a good time in life and I enjoy myself in the way that I want to do that. But there is a time, there is a season for performance, right? To have a life that you want to have. And here in the Academy, that's our absolute mission. Because most people live lives of quiet desperation, right? Wishing, wanting, and hoping, not sure what to do, what's next, live in the how. We live in the world of possibility, right? And that's an exciting place to live.
Because you get up every day with the opportunity to make a change.
It is an opportunity, and most people
Right.
take the opportunity, right? They just, they're habitual in what they do, and that's really the message that I want to bring today to your audience, Maria.
So, is there anything that somebody can just top 3 things that somebody can take action today?
Make a decision.
That's it. Make a decision.
100%. Nothing happens without a decision. I mean, Elon Musk, didn't create Tesla just on a wish and a whim and a hope and a prayer. He made a decision.
Well, a decision, not making a decision is a decision.
100%, right? It's like, thank you for saying that because that's so true. You have to make a decision about what you really, really want. Now, it doesn't mean that decision's not going to change over time. But when people make a decision, a real leader makes a decision, they make it quickly and say, I'm designed, that's it. I don't care about the circumstances. I'm going to create this because this is what I really, really want. Most people don't know what they really, really want because they live in habit. They live in like, oh, wish, oh, maybe what is Maria going to think about me today, right? I'm passionately engaged in what I believe is because I spend so many hours reading and understanding like this is true. You have to create a different belief system to create a different result. Make a decision, right? Make a decision about what you truly want, number 1. Number 2, once you make that decision, you have to figure a way to develop the belief that it's real for you and that you're willing to do what's necessary, right?
Develop the belief that it's real.
Because if you don't develop a belief, you're not going to do the work.
Visualizing what it looks like.
But you got to feel it. You got to feel that it's real. It has to become real.
It's so funny. Oh my God. I literally drove to my office today because I have to go to an appointment right from here. I usually walk. I get out of the car and I was envisioning myself in the new role that I want to be in.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt it and I was thinking about it. And I don't know, it felt really good. And maybe it's because we were talking today, but I didn't know we were going to talk about this. So maybe I have we're on the same vibrational level, Rich.
I think, well, that's how we all operate. I think it goes a lot deeper for sure. And that scares people when they start talking about that, but it's real. I mean, that's how we operate. It's how your phone works. It's all on vibration. Tuned in, tapped in, tuned on. You have to be connected to what you want. And the only way you're connected to what you want is if you believe it and you feel it and it becomes you. There's a concept called be, do, have, right? Be the person you want to be, but be that person today. Then if you be that person that you want to be, you will do the things that person does and you will have what that person has. But most people try to do before they are. Right?
You do have.
You got to be that person first, though. Right?
Yeah.
I guess the best advice I can give is define the characteristics of that person life that you want. Define them, write it down. Then look at them and saying, am I those characteristics? And then you know the problem, you.
And then what do I have to do? What do I need to do to change to have those characteristics?
Right.
What do I have to let go of?
100%. And then, you have to think, am I capable? I mean, that's something Bob taught me. Am I capable of doing it? And he said something really interesting. Theology and science have all proven that we're amazing. Spiritual DNA is perfect.
We're all capable, aren't we?
Are we willing, though, to do what's necessary?
Yes, that's the part. Of course. Are we willing?
Are we willing? Are we willing to change who we are to get something new? And that is the exciting part about life. You can do or be or have anything, really, that's allowed on this realm of existence, but you got to do the work. And that means you have to believe it. Like really, really believe it more than anything in the world. And most people don't live passionately engaged in what they really want. They just kind of tiptoe through life. And that's scary to me.
What did you do before real estate?
I was a stockbroker, financial planner, and then I was a massage therapist, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's quite a mix from one extreme to the other.
Well, I made a decision. When I was a massage therapist, I realized that I was not going to create the income that I need to create to support a family. Right. So I made a decision. I thought, where's the money? That was a mistake, long-term thinking. But I said, where's the money? Right. And the money was, we'll go to the paper markets, become a stockbroker. That's where the money is. So I made a decision. I'm going to get my securities license, my financial planning designation. I'm going to do it. Now, that was hard, but I made a decision. I didn't want to do it. I didn't really like it. I thought that's where the money, I thought that would make me happy. Right. But I made a decision. So when my friends were out partying and having a good time Saturday nights, I was studying bond equations, the future value of bond ratios and how that works. So that was a fun time, but that was a real decision. I had to really, really dig deep to make that happen. And then, you make it happen, then you realize maybe that was not the best path for me. So anything's possible. But
anything's possible.
You're going to have someone in your corner who understands the mind and how to create those changes. And if you don't have someone in your corner, most times you're probably not going to do it. Most times. Thank you for having me on the show, Maria.
Thank you. This was very enlightening. I was meant to have this conversation this morning with you, Rich.
Well, I can't podcast. I'm not sure when you're scheduled to come on our show.
Next week.
You've created some amazing results in your business and life. I'm really excited to delve deep into you and what makes you tick. It's going to be really exciting.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to listen to you going forward, on our podcast, the Peak Results Academy podcast, on all the major distribution channels, and of course on YouTube, it's there. They can listen to some producers that are creating amazing results in their life. Where I'm trying to delve deep into their minds and lives to figure out what's creating a peak result in their life. Some of it's boring for some people because they're not in the real estate business. But the real estate business is the ultimate training ground. You can succeed in real estate. You can succeed anywhere because it is the most challenging business in the world. Thank you.
It was great talking with you today. I appreciate your time. Very thankful and grateful for it. And I look forward to speaking with you next week.
I can't wait. Maria, thanks for the opportunity to share some of my thoughts on my belief patterns.
I love it. It's a great way to start Friday morning.
You're the best. Have yourself an amazing day.
Thank you. See you soon.
Take care.
Bye.